Story 1. Oh, but you really should see what so-and-so is dealing with. Putting one person's pain above another's when I am trying to tell you how difficult my experiences can be is just flat out rude. Story 2. The phrase everything happens for a reason can feel dismissive when someone just needs support, not a life lesson. Story 3. When people judge the pain management of those with chronic terminal illnesses, who cares if they are addicted to cannabis or morphine at this point? If that helps them get through the day, let them. Not all pain goes away. Story 4. Many people don't even have food or water, and you're sad about that? Come on. Get yourself together. Story 5. God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. Bitch, I never enlisted. What the fuck? Story 6. Are you okay? I break down when someone says those simple words. Laughing my ass off. Story 7. You're just lucky that a slightly worse situation didn't happen. No, I'm not. If I were lucky, that situation would not have happened at all. Story 8. Snap out of it. Thanks. I'll just tell the therapist you just cured my depression. Story 9. I would say everything happens for a reason. I know people mean well, but when you are hurting, that phrase feels like someone trying to put a bow on a dumpster fire. Thank you for the spiritual bumper sticker, but my world is quietly crumbling right now. Story 10. They are with God now. Well, they should be here with me. Greedy bastard. Story 11. God has a plan for you. You and your imaginary friend can fuck off. Story 12. Really? Why? She was not that pretty. These remarks were made by various people, in other words, people in different kinds of relationships, who clearly demonstrated to me unusual and misplaced jealousy. Story 13. You can't let it bother you. Thanks, Mom. No wonder I struggle with more than I should. Story 14. People with chronic pain conditions are often told they are too young for that. Story 15. It will happen when it is supposed to happen. You must stay positive. It will all work out. You are young. You have time. Story 16. You will feel better when the pain stops. I do not dislike this. My father used to say it. It was so obviously true and so absurd that it made me laugh and helped me feel a little better. I am sharing it in case it helps someone with a sense of humor. Laughter is the best medicine. Story 17. Dismissing a single person's loneliness by saying, "At least you're not in a bad relationship." As if someone else's terrible marriage should make them feel better. Story 18. Any God stuff. They're in a better place now. God doesn't give you more than you can handle. And so on. I haven't believed in God since I was a teenager. And I'm not about to start now unless God wants to get its thumb out of its proverbial ass and do something useful. Fix climate change, cure cancer, make rapists have aortic dissections. Story 19. Many of us experience mental illness to some extent. Story 20. Other people have it worse than you. Yes, they do, Linda, but guess what? It's not a fucking competition, and I'm still allowed to be in pain and complain about it. Story 21. Everything is going to be okay. Like how? How is that going to help them get through their problems? Story 22. One-upmanship. You think that's painful? Well, I went through something way worse. Story 23. Diagnosed with lymphoma. Oh, you have the good cancer. Fuck every fiber of your being. Story 24. Have you tried losing weight? Checking whether it is anxiety, yoga, cannabidiol, various herbs, or other approaches. Yes, I have tried them multiple times. Story 25. Many people are in pain and put up with it. You should too. Story 26. Calm down. Friend, if you can show me one instance in the history of calming down where saying that helped, I will practice self-control for 3 minutes while you get a head start on leaving. Story 27. Right, that's it. We're going out tonight. If I have to drag you out myself. Emotional pain. You're making it even worse with all this crying and screaming. Remember, it's all mind over matter. Physical pain. Story 28. Nice things someone might say are, "You are so strong. I do not know how you do it. Thanks, but strength is a choice. I do not have a choice. It is either live like this or not live at all." Disparaging things include, "You are too young to be in that much pain. I do not want to hear excuses. Cannot be that bad if you do X, Y, and Z. You just need to exercise and drink more water. W. Story 29. They are with God now. Well, they should be here with me instead. How about that? Greedy bastard. Story 30. The comment, "It's all in your head. Just don't think about it," only made me feel worse. Story 31. As a man, hearing women have it worse makes me sick to my stomach. Story 32. Hearing the phrase "just breathe" makes me want to throw them right through a window. Story 33. Neuropsychology. It happens to a lot of women when conditions such as wet and dry beriberi, or even cancer, are dismissed. It is a modern way to label symptoms as hysteria. I have seen this happen to many women since lockdown. Story 34. You need to speak to a professional. With all the money I have, right? Story 35. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah. You and Nietzsche can fuck straight off into the sunset. Story 36. Parents trying to justify abuse say, "This hurts me more than it hurts you." Story 37. God assigns his toughest battles to his strongest warriors. So Sky Daddy is out here giving childhood cancer because these children are tough? Story 38. Hey, I am sorry you are suffering, friend, but it is the plan of God. Story 39. Change your mindset. Is it that easy? Story 40. It's all part of God's plan. Tell God that a lot of his plans suck. Story 41. God does not give you more than you can handle. It makes me ragey. Story 42. Paraphrasing. You should not be upset because someone else is worse off. Absolutely not. The same logic dictates that you cannot be happy because someone else is happier. Story 43. You're not depressed. You don't even know what love is. Story 44. You got this. Life is what you make it. Nothing changes if nothing changes. This is severely invalidating and shows a lack of understanding. Story 45. Not this again. Using pain as a reason not to do something assumes pain is a finite resource and cannot be used repeatedly. Story 46. You don't know it now, but it gets better, I promise. You have no way of knowing that. There are millions of people who have experienced what I am facing and died without it getting better. Story 47. But you're so young. I guess young people are incapable of feeling pain. God wouldn't give you more than you can handle. Story 48. I'm praying for you. That phrase is offensive to non-religious people and a way for others to feel good about doing nothing. It is not the comforting expression they think it is. Similarly, saying Jesus loves you is not comforting. If he does, he sure does not know how to show it or what love is. If Jesus loved me, he could make my life a bit easier. Because I am playing life on hard mode with no help in sight. It really pisses me off as a former believer. Story 49. At least you can get pregnant. At least she lived a long life. Story 50. No. My brother had it the worst. He has a physical condition he has had since infancy. I developed a mental condition in adulthood. Our entire family has always revolved around him and his medical needs, while I am still sidelined. I joked that I now probably take more pills than he does, which is actually true. He immediately lost his temper and snapped that at least I do not have his condition and that he would take all the pills in the world if it would make it go away. Okay, whatever. He still works as a fitness instructor, so he seems to manage fine. I swear to God I am close to having a very childish outburst at all of them. Story 51. I'm sure you will feel better soon. No, I will not. I have chronic pain because 6 autoimmune diseases are attacking me, and I have bone, disc, and organ damage from my body treating itself like a foreign antigen. My mother died at 41 from the same condition. Story 52. Many people have already said what I wanted to say, but another issue is comparing your pain to someone else's. Pain and depression aren't a competition. I'm allowed to be sad, and Johnny up the road, whose situation is worse than mine, is also allowed to be sad. Story 53. Let me know if you need anything. I am grateful for the gesture, but often during hard times you do not even know what you need, and that is part of what makes it so hard to reach out for help. Story 54. You are not alone in feeling this way. Knowing that others are suffering too does not help me. Story 55. I am in horrendous physical pain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have to jump through hoops to be seen by spine and pain specialists, and my primary care physician is retiring soon, so I think she is looking forward to that and does not really care about helping to diagnose my pain. My favorite thing to hear is maybe you should exercise more. If you had listened to a word I said, that is exactly what I cannot do. Thanks for wasting my time. Story 56. God gives his hardest battles to his strongest warriors. No, Brenda, my body just sucks and I am a weak-ass bitch. Story 57. I will be praying for you. So that means you are doing nothing, right? Story 58. I took care of someone who was terminally ill and watched him die. The whole time, people kept telling him he was going to get better, and I was shaking my head. Story 59. I have been experiencing chronic nerve pain from multiple sclerosis since I was 9. I can and do push through it every day. If I finally say out loud that it really hurts, it has reached a threshold I genuinely cannot push through anymore. After 29 years of this, my pain threshold is so high it would probably cripple the people who tell me to just push through it. They have no clue what they are talking about, but always think they know more about my pain than I do. Story 60. I have pastored many people who have lost children. Some people hold harmful beliefs and say things like, God needed another angel in heaven, so he took your baby. It makes me want to slap someone upside the head in the name of Jesus and tell them to shut their mouth. Story 61. Sending hope and prayers. A close second is that God works in mysterious ways. Story 62. The phrase, other people have it worse than you, so be grateful for what you have, makes me want to strangle someone when I'm going through some shit. Story 63. The Lord works in mysterious ways, and God never gives us more than we can handle. Story 64. Oh, stop. It is not that bad. You are being dramatic. You do not look like you are in pain. You are too young to have anything wrong with you. Stop faking it for attention. Story 65. You are a survivor. I do not feel like I survived anything. I am drowning in post-traumatic stress disorder. Story 66. It's God's plan. God works in mysterious ways, and everything happens for a reason. Any of that is dumb bullshit. Story 67. God would not give you more than you can handle, or God only gives you what you can handle. I hate that phrase. Yes, he would, because I am not handling it right now. What about all those who could not handle it, those who ended their lives because it was too much? It reduces how miserable you are to a lesson in God's plan or something equally horrible. It does not come across as helpful or supportive, as people often think. Story 68. I went through the same thing and it's not that bad. Something along those lines. Story 69. Thoughts and prayers in the face of anything are empty and performative. Story 70. It doesn't hurt. The practitioner continues the painful medical procedure with no regard for screaming or expletives. Story 71. I can't imagine, or you're so strong. Gee, thanks. I don't want to be strong and I don't feel strong. Also, yes, you can imagine and it would suck. Story 72. I loved hearing, at least you already have my son, after my 3rd miscarriage in a row. Story 73. Why did you come to the emergency department? You could have waited until the morning and contacted your primary care provider. I don't know. I had sudden difficulty breathing and a tearing sensation in an area just above a known aneurysm, so I wanted to make sure I was not dying. Story 74. People tell me it cannot be that bad, to just breathe through it, or they tell me what medications to take, as if I had not just swallowed a double dose. Story 75. What does not kill you makes you stronger. First, it is a quote from an absolute dickhead. Second, it is obviously complete bollocks. Story 76. To God belongs what he takes and what he gives, and everything with him has a specified term. Therefore be patient and seek reward. We say this as Muslims who believe in the one and only Creator, Allah. Story 77. Look on the bright side. Am I supposed to stop crying or feeling stressed and start cheering just because there is a tiny bright side? Story 78. Saying I understand was never a favorite of mine. Likewise, I know what you are going through was not something I would say. No, your dad did not fall down the stairs at age 68, get diagnosed with cancer in the emergency room, and die 2 weeks later. Just say I am sorry. My buddy's dad passed away unexpectedly, as mine did. I refused to say those phrases. I said I am sorry and that I was there to listen and to help. Story 79. Just breathe. Listen for physical pain. I've been saying that for decades. At a certain point, it can make chronic pain worse because it becomes irritating. Story 80. It's just a phase. I will stop crashing out and start squaring up. Story 81. Relax. Calm down. Why are you stressed? Just shut the fuck up. Story 82. I had the same illness or injury as you and said you needed to do the same, as though we were in the exact same situation when we were not. Story 83. You are strong. You got this. I heard that so many times while going through cancer treatment. Motherfucker. I don't want to hear you got this. Story 84. People say so-and-so has it worse than you, but someone else's suffering does not make mine better. Their amputated leg does not heal my broken one. Story 85. I had a friend who was clearly distraught. I never bothered to ask him. Someone in a group chat said he needed to grow a pair. I told them to fuck off and go crawl back into the home they crawled out of. Story 86. I had something like that before, but it was worse. I'm saying your voice is causing me pain right now. Story 87. Don't be upset. Things will get better soon, and everything will be okay. Story 88. The phrases my condolences and sorry for your loss are the two most generic, rubber stamp things you can say to someone experiencing the pain of losing a loved one. They show no thought or real empathy. If you are going to say something comforting, take a few moments to think and choose words that are personalized and meaningful. Story 89. Your pain is nothing compared to someone else's. It really annoys me that a third party decides which of two people has worse pain. Story 90. Just breathe through it. Take a deep breath and blow it out. You'll be okay. Story 91. The worst is when someone asks, "Are you okay?" It's like I'm bleeding out, you inconsiderate person. I'm cracked open with a broken bone and painfully screaming, and you have the nerve to ask if I'm okay. Story 92. Just move your body. I clean houses and have never had a sedentary job or lifestyle. I do yoga and walk daily. I also suffer from chronic pain. Movement can definitely help. Story 93. I understand, or I can imagine. You don't understand, and you can't imagine. Saying I know what someone is going through versus saying I don't know. One is arrogant, the other is empathetic. Story 94. God works in mysterious ways. Bro, my illness is terminal. Just an example, I am fine. Story 95. Remember there are people in this world who are worse off than you. Be grateful for what you have that they do not. Story 96. Breathe through it. Did you think I was going to smother myself? Controlled breathing is definitely helpful. But damn it, let me gasp in pain. Story 97. It is what it is. This phrase is cold and annoying in any context. Story 98. The phrase you have been through so much or a similar variation is usually meant to be sympathetic. But it makes me want to scream. I am well aware of what we have been through. I lived it. I do not need more reminders. I am already reminded every day. Story 99. Life's trials are sent to try us. Well, I see you seem to be free of trials right now because you can walk away. Story 100. Oh, you think you're in pain? Well, I remember when I, or someone else, had it much worse. Story 101. One time I was talking to one of my best friends about some problems I was having in my love life, and I was basically falling apart. She started a speech about karma and destiny, and while I know she did not mean it, it felt like she was telling me first that I deserved that pain and it was my fault, and second that the universe's plan for me just sucks and I am destined to suffer. We are still very close. She helped me through so much and I love her, but a small part of me still resents her. So, yeah, if someone is in pain, keep your theories to yourself. It comes when you least expect it, or you never know what life has to offer is a close second. I have often heard this from people who had never experienced what I was going through. Their intention was good. They wanted to encourage me and I appreciated that, but it still feels a little fake and is actually enraging. A good alternative is, I am sorry you felt that way or that this happened to you. You know I am always here to help. It feels less dismissive and invalidating. One thing I also hate is when people try to win the imaginary title of who is hurting the most. I have seen this happen to my friends many times and I wanted to eat those people alive. If someone is sharing their problems, it is their moment. End of story. Story 102. Remember, things have to get worse before they can get better. By that logic, nothing would ever improve and it would be an endless cycle of decline. Story 103. Stop making excuses. If you really wanted to, you would do it. You are just unmotivated. How do you not understand that I am in pain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and have no energy? I do my best with the energy and effort I have, but sometimes I have to admit defeat and rest instead of cooking, exercising, or going out. Story 104. I worked with a very old-school physician who told patients that nobody ever died from pain, fever, or nausea. Story 105. Just do the activity that does not help more often, and you will not be in pain. Not how it works, Brandon. Story 106. Just meditate and be in the moment, but it is excruciatingly painful, so no. Also, screw you. Story 107. Some people have it worse. So because others can't eat every day, I'm not allowed to be sad ever again? Story 108. God would not give you more than he knew you could handle. Sod off. Story 109. It will be all right. I know it will be, but what should I do in this moment when I am feeling bad? Story 110. The phrases, it's all in your head. And have you tried exercising more? Make my eyes roll back into my head. Story 111. God does not give people things they cannot handle. That makes God sound cruel, as if he is torturing someone on purpose. Story 112. Physical pain. People who always claim they have had the same experience or that they had it worse. Emotional pain. Anything that is religiously based. Story 113. Person has it worse. It is not the end of the world, or it will go away. Story 114. When you are depressed and someone who claims to be blessed says that your depression is a lack of God in your life. Story 115. People have told me to man up or sack up about my mental and physical health, and that was helpful 0 times. Story 116. Avoid phrases that start with, well, at least. When we are in pain, particularly chronic debilitating pain, we logically know that things could be worse. But during a flare-up, the brain is so preoccupied with pain that the body goes into survival mode. Sometimes we truly feel like we are dying. Sometimes it is bad enough that a small part of us wishes we were, or would not care. Yes, some people have it worse. But in those moments, we do not have the mental space to think about that. All we want is for our loved ones to comfort us. There is little real comfort in those moments, but feeling that someone has your back makes the pain feel slightly more bearable. Story 117. Some fundamentalists often offer mindless bumper sticker sayings such as, "It is part of God's plan," or "God does not give you problems you cannot handle." At the funeral of a 4-year-old, a well-meaning person said that to a grieving mother. I thought the mother might react violently toward the speaker, and no jury would have convicted her. If you are speaking with someone who is grieving, the only acceptable responses are, "I am so terribly sorry," and a specific offer of help, for example, "If you need us to pick someone up from the airport," or "Let us bring dinner by the house." Story 118. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. He hits that dumbass in the leg with a crowbar. Cool. Let me know how that goes. Story 119. Kyle Kinane said it best. Everything happens for a reason. You did not come to work, Kenny. Story 120. The Lord works in mysterious ways. How can this Lord get away with it? Story 121. It can't be that bad. You're not in bed. I have multiple chronic, intractable conditions. One man told me his back hurt from moving some computers, and I could not understand his pain. I had just had my 3rd spinal surgery after losing the discs between my vertebrae. It was bone on bone. Story 122. This is nothing. I've experienced far worse. Imagine going through something else instead. It just comes across as one-upping and is an extreme dick move, in my opinion. I got so fed up with hearing this that it's half the reason I don't say anything to anyone anymore. Story 123. Suck it up, especially when it comes to playing sports. Story 124. This is specific to me, but my stepmother used to say the phrase "the thing of it" is constantly, so now even when someone else says it normally, I twitch. Story 125. Just breathe. Like, shut the fuck up. I know how to fucking breathe. If I didn't, I'd be dead. Go be useless somewhere else. Story 126. Clearly, your pain is a result of your obesity, and if you consumed fewer calories and were more active, you would not be in pain anymore. That is all well and good, doctor. But I was born with a severely damaged neck and spine and have been in constant pain my entire life. Yes, losing weight would help, but how am I supposed to be active the way I need to be if it hurts just to sit up in the morning? Even if I consume fewer calories, I still will not be able to be active enough to burn those calories off. Thankfully, I finally found a doctor who sees me as a human being instead of a number on the scale, and he gave me the medications I need to relieve my pain so I can exercise. I have been exercising. Story 127. I have chronic health issues for which I take medication. Multiple times, when someone with similar issues asks what I do and I say I take medication, they respond that they do not want their life controlled by pills. Fuck you. I am not weaker or less in control of my life because I take the medication prescribed by my doctor. You asked a question. I offered a solution. Story 128. I know exactly how you feel. You have no idea what I have been feeling for 26 years with chronic pain. You will keep saying that, and I will keep gritting my teeth and ignoring it. Story 129. Other people have it worse. That is a manipulative phrase, attempting to make me feel guilty for my feelings. I will not tolerate hearing that phrase anymore. Story 130. Time heals all wounds? No, it does not. The wound is still there. Story 131. This too shall pass is presumptive. It skips past the reality of grief and trauma by assuming it is temporary in a way anyone can measure. After 2 months and countless therapy sessions, I am still sobbing into my pillow every night. Story 132. You look great. No, I really do not. I am swollen, full of stitches, bruises, a cast, and a brace. None of that makes me look great. I have wondered if not knowing what to say leads them to put their foot in their mouth that badly. Story 133. I'm sorry you feel that way. This was a staple of my soon-to-be ex-wife. Whenever I tried to explain that something she did upset me, I would just get, I'm sorry you feel that way. It was her way of avoiding responsibility for her actions and minimizing her guilt over causing someone else's pain. She rarely said, I'm sorry I did that to you. Words and how we say them matter and can have profound effects on the people we love. Story 134. When someone has died and people ask why him or her and not someone else, what does that mean? Story 135. I screamed, fell to the ground, and began hysterically crying and laughing when I tore my anterior cruciate ligament and severely damaged my meniscus. My physical education teacher told me to quiet down and stop crying, but I could not. Everyone stood around as I bawled and laughed uncontrollably. The pain was so excruciating I could not control myself. I even tried to cover my mouth, but it only made it harder to breathe. Story 136. Your pain seems to show up at the most inconvenient times. Yes, I know. It's there all the time and I try to push through, but I cannot do everything. Story 137. I know what you are going through. No, you fucking do not. Stop talking to me. Story 138. The phrase, an Indian doesn't know pain, is still often used for male children who receive a vaccine shot or suffer an injury. People respond, others have it worse, and then give a detailed account about cousin X and the neighbor's daughter's son. They add, this has a reason. Did you not take care of your body or your nutrition? It surely has something to do with your sleep schedule, computer use, exercise, smoking, or alcohol consumption. Story 139. Are you okay? Comes from a good place, but the clear answer is no. Story 140. I am always told to think positive thoughts, so if you say that, I am 100% going to slap you in the face. Story 141. I initially read the title as physical pain and immediately thought of my post-birth hospital experience, when a doctor had to put her hand into my undilated cervix. They kept telling me I was strong and that I had a high pain tolerance because I was enduring it. I remember thinking, I don't want to fucking be strong anymore. Story 142. I know someone who struggles with that. They have a full-time job, a business, and children. They just push through and get on with it. Story 143. After crashing my bicycle into a tree. Are you okay? Oh yeah, just peachy. Story 144. Embrace the pain, said a minister during a sermon about pain and suffering. What a norb. Story 145. This does not exactly fit the question, but my father's favorite phrase was do or do not. There is no try. I came to hate that stupid fucking green muppet. As a child with messed up brain chemistry, I really did not appreciate being told that none of my effort mattered and only the result did. Story 146. You've gotten up before. Okay, Jared, I know. Maybe I'm getting tired of it. Story 147. Forcing a silver lining they have found down my throat when I just want to let the thing fucking suck. Story 148. I was a personal care assistant for a family whose son was diagnosed with medulloblastoma when he wasn't even a year old. He succumbed to the cancer shortly after his second birthday. At the funeral, someone said, "It was just his time. He's with God now." Fuck you. What God takes a 2-year-old? Story 149. I would not say I detest it, but I dislike telling someone they will be okay when you both know they will not. About 45 years ago, when I was 23, I was in the Air Force stationed in Washington State. An older couple adopted me and we grew close. I had not been in contact with them for several months because I was very busy. I learned that Glenn, the husband, had been diagnosed with advanced cancer and was not expected to live much longer. Several more weeks passed before I was able to visit them. By then he was bedridden and barely able to speak. His wife showed me to his bedside. I sat with him for a few moments. He was barely able to speak. At one point he looked at me and managed to croak that he was in great pain. I started to tell him that everything would be okay when a small voice inside me said not to. Told me he knew he was dying and that I knew, and that I owed him honesty. Prompted by that voice, I took his hand and told him that I understood, that it would be over very soon, and that he would not be in pain anymore. He looked at me with tears in his eyes and managed to croak his thanks. I spent a few more moments with him, then saw he was exhausted. I talked with his wife for a while and then left. He passed away quietly and peacefully in his sleep that same night. His wife told me later that he was more relaxed and comfortable after my visit than he had been in weeks. I understand not wanting to alarm someone who has been severely injured, but I do not approve of lying in that situation. People do it and then convince themselves they are trying to comfort the dying person when, in fact, they are simply trying to comfort themselves. Story 150. I lost my dog months ago, and people keep asking me when I will get another one. They ask when, not if, and that makes it harder. I loved him. He was with me from high school through college and beyond, but I am not in a position financially to adopt. I wish people would stop asking that question. It is not helpful. They know how much his loss hurts, yet they act as if nothing happened. Story 151. I have had chronic pain since I was 9. It got significantly worse in my 20s, to the point where I would be confined to bed or the couch some days. The one that always gets me is older people saying, "Just wait until you get to be my age." It may be worse for those seniors, I do not know, but I hate being made to feel like a dramatic teenager about very real, life-affecting pain. Story 152. Whatever does not kill you makes you stronger. Actually, it made things worse. Story 153. How are you doing? My mom just died, Stephen. I am understandably not great. Story 154. Saying that other people have it worse doesn't make my pain any less, you dingbat. Story 155. What are people supposed to say? If you tell someone that something bad has happened to you or that you're suffering in some way, what should they say? Is "I'm sorry" good enough? Story 156. Everything happens for a reason. When people complain about their own issues, remember the ring of support. Everyone is placed in rings around the person going through a problem. The spouse is in the inner ring, then children or parents, then best friends, then regular friends, then coworkers or acquaintances, and finally strangers. If you must complain, speak to someone in a ring farther from the center than you. Do not complain inward, toward someone closer to the person in need. Story 157. I have complex regional pain syndrome and have told myself almost all of these things, so now I feel angry with myself, laughing out loud. One thing I do not like to hear, though, is when people say, I would not make it if it happened to me. You are so strong. Like, okay. Story 158. You have to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Sure, it is great to have some optimism, but it is also important to sit in your pain and let the feelings pass. Story 159. I feel pain too. Everyone does. But if I don't work. Story 160. Where are you on the pain scale? My pain levels are so high that my pain tolerance differs from most people's. I was recently in hospital for surgery, and afterward they kept asking me this question. I have had extreme pain unrelated to the surgery for years. I kept telling them too. They said I did not understand the scale because that could not be true after the surgery I had. My wife overheard this during the first few days of a 5-week recovery stay in the intensive care unit and told them that my 2 is everyone else's 8 and that if I say 3 or 4 they need to take action. I am at an 8 almost all the time on the regular scale. That is just daily living for me. Story 161. It'll get better, just hold on. Fuck off. I heard that 20 years ago and now I have even more trauma and pain. It didn't get better. Story 162. It made you stronger. I didn't need to be stronger. I needed to be safe. Story 163. Try relaxing by closing your eyes. Like that is going to get rid of the nerve pain from my busted vertebrae. Story 164. I am currently dealing with a broken second lumbar vertebra. The number of people who tell me that it could have been worse or that I should be grateful because I am young is frustrating. I am in my 20s. Their comments dismiss my pain and how traumatic the experience was for me. Story 165. Have you tried talking to a therapist? Yes. Here is a thought. Maybe authority does not always care. I just wanted to throw that out there. There are people who care about you. If it is not you, then who is it? Everyone might just say the same thing. It is the bystander effect. Friendship should be organic. You can't force it. Great. It looks like good people will not stand up when it is uncomfortable. They will just go with the flow and then wonder why evil always wins. Evil is not afraid to force itself, and somehow everyone thinks that is okay. But when good tries to force itself, suddenly that is self-righteous. This is why unfairness wins. Depressed people have each other. Are you advocating for a godforsaken caste system? Story 166. It gets better. Just keep going has been consistently untrue for me. Story 167. Other people have it worse. Okay. I know that, but it does not mean I am not hurting or that I do not deserve sympathy or comfort. Story 168. There are people starving and dying. That dismisses the fact that you are currently struggling. There will always be someone worse off than you, but we are not talking about them now. We are talking about you. That is the only response needed. Story 169. Welcome to my world, and it could always be worse. I have been dealing with health issues for years. Recently, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, and possibly another one pending further tests. After having a baby last year, my symptoms ramped up enough for me to get checked. One of my most frequent symptoms is intense heat sensitivity. I get very hot out of nowhere and cannot cool off, which results in vomiting and nearly passing out, and twice I passed out. It has become so bad that I have to take showers in the middle of the workday to cool down and rinse the sweat off. I have kept my manager informed because we work closely. She does not know everything, but she saw me pass out and understands I have a severe heat sensitivity. Every now and then when we run into each other, she asks how I am feeling. And whenever I tell her I am burning up, she responds dismissively with phrases like "welcome to my world," or "we all are." She is not that bad in other situations, but whenever someone feels anything less than perfect, she makes sure that person knows it is not that bad, or it could be worse, or that everyone deals with it, so they do not deserve sympathy. I have called her out a few times, but at this point I would rather pick my battles. Story 170. It'll all be okay, or it'll all work out in the end. No, things can actually ruin the rest of your life. Your goals and dreams can be swept down the drain. Not everything will be okay. Not everyone lives a fulfilling, happy life. Go fuck off with your toxic positivity. Story 171. Just take your time. I am disabled. My husband likes to say that when I am in distress and he does not want to help me. Story 172. It is God's plan. God sends his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. I have felt worse and I lived. There are people who have lived through worse. You will be fine. Story 173. I am so sorry for your loss. Thank you for your service. Story 174. When I was little, if I fell or was hurt, my mother would always say that things would be all right until I got married. I am not sure if this is just an Irish thing, but every time she said it, it made my pain seem to last much longer. Story 175. My mom always says it is okay whenever I point out that something really bad is happening. I hate that. Do not tell me that something bad is okay. It is better to say nothing. Story 176. Any form of saying it is okay or you are going to be okay is not helpful. Just let me be sad or hurt. Okay? Story 177. I'm here for you and then never see them again. Don't stress me with kindness. It's a thorn in my grief. Because if I did need you, you wouldn't be around. That's one of those phrases that no one should say. Story 178. Can you do that for me? Right after hearing what the person is going through, just say you do not care. Story 179. There are plenty of fish in the sea and also a lot of trash. Shoot for the moon because even if you miss, you might fail to reach escape velocity and crash back to Earth, get stuck in orbit with other space debris, or be flung into space to drift endlessly, cold, alone, and with dwindling resources. Story 180. Wow, that's a crazy story. I don't think the majority of people even consider it. Living in an old house, I'm always mindful of water leaks or places water shouldn't be because they can be dangerous. At least you have an interesting story. How can you be so seriously ill and then recover relatively unscathed? Leaving the source seems to be the key. I just realized this thread. I bet someone will turn, at least you got a good story out of it, into another annoying phrase. Story 181. Perception is reality. I heard that frequently where I used to work. No, perception is just perception. Investigating even a little will prevent many problems caused by jumping to conclusions. Story 182. I have a degenerative spine. My main issue for years has been a damaged sciatic nerve that caused weakness, falls, and excruciating pain around the clock. Almost every man over 40 I have known said something like, "Oh, would you like me to cut it off for you?" Or, "I have a hatchet, a shotgun, or a knife. I can cut, shoot, or stab your other leg. That one will not hurt anymore." The crazy thing is it usually was not me who told them about my back problems. It was a family member or friend. They were literally offering to harm me out of nowhere. One time might have been a little funny. All of them? You need better and, for goodness sake, less violent-sounding jokes. Story 183. You focus too much on the bad. Bitch, the bad focuses too much on me. Honorable mention from my mother. At least I didn't cut your arms and legs off. Story 184. They say they are sorry as if it were their fault. More to the point, they completely disappear because they do not want to hear anything more about it or be considered a source of support. Story 185. For me, it's immediately after an accident. Are you okay? Story 186. I have migraines and chronic pain. I am always told to eat better, exercise, drink water, do yoga, and try biofeedback. Most of the time it feels like they are blaming me, as if I caused my own problems. People seem to think you only get pain because you deserve it. I have 4 herniated discs in my neck and 4 in my lower back. I had a spontaneous fracture of my femur, and fractures in other bones. The worst thing is when healthcare professionals are dismissive. After I had knee replacement surgery, the nurses came in every 4 hours to ask my pain level. My pain was not managed properly. I said 9 out of 10. They wrote it down and left with no intervention. I had to remind them that they could call the doctor and ask for another dose. Story 187. Sending thoughts and prayers. If you are going to do nothing, just don't tell me. Story 188. I know what you're going through, I said to my mom after my brother died young. Story 189. Gah. I had a long night of bad dreams. The main theme was trying to get people to listen when I felt ill and needed help. In the dream, I asked family, friends, a hospital, a mall, and some strange nightclubs for help. Multiple times I curled up in a ball wherever I was. The dream reflects my frustration at not being understood. My mother-in-law said, "You did not look like you hurt that bad," after she took photos of me and posted them on Facebook without asking while I had kidney stones. Story 190. I hated when they called my 3-year-old's fight with cancer her journey. Like, what the hell? Story 191. For me, saying anything other than breathe is unnecessary, but I do not detest it. It just goes in one ear and out the other. Story 192. Think about the things you are grateful for. Story 193. There's someone worse off. Like, what the actual F word? It is so callous and dismissive. It basically tells someone that you do not care at all. Story 194. Thoughts and prayers. If it worked, then the person you are praying to is the one who gave you the pain in the first place. Story 195. You are so strong. I'm literally just trying to survive, Janet. Story 196. You are overreacting when someone with a mental illness has an episode. Story 197. You're too young for that pain. No kidding. It did not stop my back from being broken when I was a child, nor stop a parent from denying me treatment. I detest such dismissive statements, but the chronic pain is worse. Story 198. For some reason, the common reaction to a miscarriage is to say not to worry and that there will be more, as if that is remotely appropriate. I am devastated. I just lost my baby, and being told that I can have more is not a comfort. I have received this consolation from more people than I can bear. Story 199. People say you will be fine, just take some pain medication and go. Period. Pain is awful. Pain medication does not solve everything. It can still be uncomfortable physically and emotionally. Honestly, if the workforce gave women one paid week each month for their period, that would be wonderful. When men say it is unfair, they are not the ones bleeding in pain and expected to act normally. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.